It's time to have the Real Convo, a show that brings hope and awareness to those affected by suicide and mental health. As someone who is affected by both, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention Southeast Florida board member Alan Mednick breaks the stigma with his mission that no one ever feels alone. With the help of influential guests in the community, the Real Convo starts now.
I will always be there to give you hope and bring you joy, to ease your mind and all your pain, to pick you up if you are down, and love you till my final day. That's the Service Dog's creed. And I'm Al Mednick. I'm with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, a Southeast board member, and this is Real Convo. Welcome to the show. Today we have such an incredible show. Obviously, last week was an important one with the personal ponies, but today we're going to be talking about service dogs and our veterans. I want to thank our sponsors for allowing us to do this. We have Business Services for You. They're an incredible accounting firm, and listen to their show right after this, All Things Financial. We have Futures Recovery Healthcare, an incredible substance abuse facility up in the Tequesta area, Jupiter area. And we also have Clarity Health Solutions, an amazing facility. We usually have Jen Hoskin-Tomko here as a co-host. She's not here today, but she's an amazing person that helps a lot of people. So I want to welcome today Vets Helping Heroes. We have two amazing people here, and we have an amazing story to tell. So first I want to introduce the executive director, which is Lisa Fendrick.
Hello, Alan. How are you?
Did I get that right?
Lisa Fendrick.
Okay, I always have to make sure I get the name right. So welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming in. And today we have someone that I'm probably most honored in my life to have met. This gentleman is someone that's very special and a hero. And I want to introduce Mel Pollack. Is that right?
Mel Pollack, yes.
Pollack, okay. Well, I apologize for that. Should we call you Colonel or?
Just call me Mel.
Okay, Mel. So Mel is an amazing person, and Mel is the what is your role with? You're the president for Vets Helping Heroes.
President of Vets Helping Heroes for about the last year and a half, 2 years.
That's incredible. So first, I just like to get in. Can you tell us a little bit about what is Vets Helping Hero?
Vets Helping Heroes was an organization started about 11 years ago by our founder, who was a World War II B-24 bombardier and spent 11 months in Stalag Luft 1 as a prisoner of war of the Nazis. And after he retired from his executive career, he became a volunteer service officer at the Veterans Administration. And one of the things he discovered was that when veterans get released from the VA, they're on their own.
Yeah.
And he saw a great need for service dogs, and he started this organization. I knew Erwin through the Boca Pilots organization, and shortly after he started the organization 11 years ago, he got me involved in it. And when he passed away about a year and a half ago, they asked me to step up to be president.
Wow. And, we talk about how animals help people in general with mental health. There's nothing behind animals don't judge. They love people unconditionally. But there's something special about the service dogs and working with vets with PTSD. Is that correct? Something a little bit more?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a very rigorous training process. And they're not just given a dog. They're paired with a dog. They have to bond. It's a big process. These dogs do what people cannot do.
Yeah, it's amazing. So let me take a step back. I do want to get a little bit, Mel, into your background and how you got involved with this. Tell us a little bit about your story, if you can.
My story? Well, I'm a Long Island, New York City kid, and after I graduated from NYU down in the Village, I always wanted to fly airplanes, and my uncle was a B-17 pilot in World War II, and as a little aside, he was shot down and was a prisoner of war for 9 months in that same prison camp that our founder Erwin was. And believe it or not, in an Allied prison camp in the 40s with 20 or 30,000 POWs, Erwin and my uncle were cellmates.
Are you serious? That's incredible.
It's in Erwin's book. They was actually cellmates. But that we found out long after Erwin and I got tied up with the organization. So I went in the Air Force, and I went to pilot training, and I became a fighter pilot.
And this was back in...
I graduated pilot training in March of 1966 at Laughlin Air Force Base in Del Rio, Texas. Went to survival school, went to my Phantom, the Mach 2 supersonic jet fighter that's gone down in history as one of the greatest airplanes. And then I went right to Vietnam at Da Nang, the northernmost airfield for jets in South Vietnam at the time. And I got shot down on July 6th of 1967 on my 78th combat mission.
Okay.
I was almost done.
78, that's quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, we were flying, and we were doing our job. And I got captured, and I spent 5 years and 8 months as a POW on what they generically refer to as the Hanoi Hilton, but the various prison camps in North Vietnam. And on the 4th of March, as we were discussing earlier, 1973, I was repatriated after 5 years and 8 months in the prison camp.
Now, when you were repatriated, did you guys get word that the war was over?
Well, in a pure communist system, it's all propaganda, as you know. And yes, but they did tell us a few weeks earlier that the peace treaty had been signed and that we'd be going home. They did tell us that. And treatment and food especially dramatically improved.
Now, if I could, and again, I just, I don't want to go into too much detail, but with being in 5.5 years, or 5 years, 8 months, obviously is a tremendous long time. Your mental health, how did you get through it?
That's a good question that everybody seems to ask. Basically, in the prison camps of North Vietnam, we had a very highly educated, very highly motivated, very highly trained group of prisoners, and we formed and in a communist system they kept us in small groups of 2 and 3 or 4 people until later on in the war. But we always had a communication system in each camp, which they didn't like, obviously. And that's how we kept our morale high, and we kept the code of conduct, it's called.
I was reading some of the ways that you communicated, which one of them was like a metal cup.
Well, the tap code was one way. Then the metal cup, because everything's concrete or brick, and you put it up against the wall, wrap a towel around it, and then you can talk into it, and it'd be amazing. It goes. And
you can hear right through the concrete.
It's a lot of effort, but it works. And we had a complete communication system, and all based on rank, of course. And we upheld the code of conduct, and that's what we did.
Now, one of the things I also read in there, first let's get to, you had a pretty famous roommate.
I was next door to John McCain. Everybody asked this question. I was next door to John McCain for quite a while, and we became very close friends, yes.
Okay. One of the things I was reading which most impressed me was that they were actually willing to release you if you had signed some papers?
Well, they had an early release program of which 11 people were foolish enough to use. And yes, they offered it to me. They offered it to a lot of people, but you had to admit to being a Yankee air pirate, a war criminal, ask Ho Chi Minh and the people of Vietnam, meet delegations, make propaganda, broadcasts, and tapes, and meet various foreign delegations and news organizations. And I told them as an American officer I couldn't do that, and they said okay, and that was it. But we did have 11 people who broke the code of conduct and did that.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked that question on the mental health aspect of it, you had to be so strong.
Oh yeah,
mentally.
No,
I mean, your physical, I'm sure you were broken down, but to do all that and to be able to say no to being released.
Well, that's why I say we had a very highly trained, highly motivated, highly educated group of people. And yeah, it took a lot of strength to say no. As a matter of fact, I said to my interrogator, if you put me on a water buffalo and send me home without all the other stuff, I'll go. Obviously,
yeah.
But that was it.
Yeah, and again, I'm thinking of now is like with what's going on now in the world with all the people that are struggling with mental health. I don't know if you know this, but mental health is the #1 disability in the world.
I believe it.
And, you know, we have so much going, and for you to be that strong mentally and all these other people, I wonder if there's something we could take from how you were able to survive and how people should, and help people today, how we should be surviving.
It was our training as American fighting people. I want to say American fighting men. In those days, we didn't have women in the military in combat roles. But we were trained very well, and we upheld what we call the code of conduct. That was most important to us.
It's amazing. And again, I said, I'm just so honored to meet you. And, you know, I've met a lot of people on the show. I've been fortunate. That's one of the things I really love about doing this show is getting to bring influential people onto the show. And we've had, you know, Congressman Hastings on the show, and we've had some, you know, pretty impressive people. And I got to say, I'm most honored to have you at this moment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your service and everything you've done. I do want to ask one question on this, on leading into what we're going to be talking about is, was it more difficult for you mentally in the camp or after you were released to try and reorganize yourself into the society?
In my case, for whatever reason, it was relatively easy. Number one, I was young. I was only 25 years old when I was shot down. I was single. So it may sound selfish, but all I had to concern myself with was me, myself, and I. And that was a very big difference over so many of the other guys who had families and kids growing up. Very, very difficult for them, whereas I didn't have that issue. And then my mental makeup is when I got off that airplane at Clark Air Base in the Philippines, I was looking straight ahead at Mach 2. The past was the past.
You stayed in the military.
Well, I wound up staying in because the airlines weren't hiring, and I wanted to keep flying the jet fighters, and I was an instructor pilot at Homestead Air Force Base.
Wow, you're amazing to have the strength to keep going, and it's just amazing. But I ask that because, you know, a lot of times our military and our heroes, they come home and they struggle. I mean, like we were talking about before, when you go into it, they prepare you probably weeks in advance, months in advance to get in and do your training and everything. But when you get out, it's, from what I hear, a 1-week course on how to
reacclimate yourself.
Yeah, with society. And, you know, so I hear that a lot from veterans, how it's so difficult when they come out more, and they feel like they're losing a family too. And that gets into my point with the dogs. So the dogs are almost another family. You're not losing you're
They consider these dogs their battle buddies. It's incredible the trust that they have in the dog, that they can't,
and vice versa,
that they can't find even in their own family members.
So with the dogs, what do the dogs do? What do you train them to do?
Well, we train them to.
Well, let me straighten something out. We don't train them. Vets Helping Heroes is a 501c3 charity. All we do is raise money to fund the provision of service dogs, and currently we use 5 providers around the country, 3 in the state of Florida.
Right.
I want to put that in perspective because we get phone calls, as Lisa can tell you, almost every day. And people think we do things like we have dogs waiting, come pick one up.
Right.
No, we don't do that.
We have no dogs
We
at all.
provide the funding.
But it's still a specialty training that has to be done, especially for
The
veterans.
facilities, it's a 2-year process.
Wow.
It's a 2-year process to train a service dog, whether it's a PTSD dog, a balance dog, a diabetes dog, etc. Seeing eye dogs cost about almost 3 times the price, and they take 2 to 3 years to train.
Yeah, I saw something here online. It says PTSD service dogs provide companionship, calm their handlers, assist with medical crisis, provide treatment-related assistance, assist in coping with emotional overload, perform security enhancement tasks, assist with episodes of depression, prevent people from crowding or rushing, and safely wake handlers from flashbacks. And it also says here, start the healing from the inside out. I like that point too.
It's amazing, especially the security aspect, how the dogs understand the various, as you use the term, triggers for the various versions of PTSD and things. It's amazing, and like I said, diabetes dogs and
The
therapy dogs.
senses that they have.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do.
So what is it about the dogs that help them? Like when they have a flashback, when they're sleeping, does the dog sense this?
Oh, yeah. And the dog will put a paw on the person, or lean against them, or jump in their lap, or put their head on their chest if they're in bed. I've seen the most amazing, we've seen the most amazing things.
And they don't stop. They don't stop until you're okay. They will literally jump up and keep trying to, almost like a hug. Almost like a hug.
They're like the term that they gave us, the battle buddy. That's a term we've gotten from the veterans. Now, this is my battle buddy, and he or she is here for me.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I was up in New York, I had a neighbor up there, and they were great people. And the gentleman, he was in, I think he was in Lebanon. I think it was Lebanon he was in. He was in the Marines, and then he got out and he became a sheriff with the county sheriff's office up there. And he was a great guy, but you could see he had, PTSD also, and one of the things was like his wife couldn't even sleep with him. She had to sleep in a separate room because, he would wake up and, start, whatever. So she obviously was dangerous for her to sleep in the room.
We hear that all the time.
And that's where the dogs come in and really calm the people down.
Well, we hear from the wives, in some cases the husbands, because we have female veterans, and children, of what these dogs have done for their family life and their marriages. It's something you can't describe.
Yeah.
You can't describe it.
Yeah, I know people also where they're going through marriage troubles because of the PTSD. A lot of times, I guess the veterans don't even realize they have it, or they don't admit it.
Well, the macho aspect comes in, and many times they try to fight it themselves, and you're not even seeing doctors in some cases. But eventually, hopefully most of them come around and they realize the benefits.
Yeah, and again, get back to the dogs, because, obviously there's a lot of different animals out there that you could use. Like we had last week, like I said, the ponies, and they were phenomenal. But there's something about a dog.
Man's best friend, woman's best friend.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the U.S. government only recognizes two animals as bona fide service animals: dogs and miniature horses.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it.
I didn't realize the miniature horses were there too.
Yeah, the miniature horses, and supposedly they housebreak and they train and everything.
Well, the funny
we
thing,
have no experience with that.
Yeah, no, they were telling me last week, Sandra, she was phenomenal, that they go everywhere. Nursing homes, they go in substance abuse, but they go in elevators. They're like her. It's 100 pounds, one of them.
We also provide facility therapy dogs, and we have one at the Palm Beach VA who's just retiring, and we're getting ready to replace him.
So let's get into how people get a hold of you. Lisa, just tell us the contact information, website.
Most of our contact is either veterans Google searches, they find us and they call directly, or they go through their local VA, where we try and have brochures out there and people at the VAs to refer to us. So that's where we get the veterans from. Once we do get a veteran calling us directly, we ask for their DD-214 and a letter from their treating physician, and then I take that documents and I forward them to a training facility closest to them, which will then do the application process. So from that point on, we're not really involved, except we monitor where our money is going, and we make sure that we get the documentation required when we fund these facilities, because we do require quarterly reports, quarterly videos, on-site, inspections.
Yeah, and you had sent me a video of some veterans that actually had gotten some dogs, and I just want to listen to them for a minute, and we'll talk about that when the video's done. All right, James.
I had severe TBI, a lot of balance issues, PTSD on top of it. But my main thing was major anger. I was constantly getting in trouble. I just had this mentality. It was up to me to educate the public. So it was actually my husband that started talking to me about getting a dog, and I was a doc. No, we don't need that. We take care of ourselves. And then through my niece was working with Norma and Positive Action, and through Vets Helping Heroes, and just watching them and what they were doing with the dogs, and Cook just ran up to me one day and put his head on my lap, looked up at me, and then I knew. And since getting Cook, I'm not on any medications. I've had no issues, and it's been 4 years now. Cook made me look at life beyond myself. I was very self-absorbed, and I had this mentality, it was me against the world. But getting Cook let me know that, I can't be like that. He needed my attention at the same time. But it's not like having a pet that sits on your lap or, just your good old-fashioned family pet. If I have a nightmare, he'll turn a light on for me. If I'm someplace where I have some anxiety, he leans into me and lets me know, okay, Mom, you're doing good. We got this. And so it's helped me through everything from being a better wife to a better mom, to be able to relate to my kids and my husband again, and he's been that bridge for that. Without Vets Helping Heroes, I literally would probably be in jail right now, and I wouldn't be married. I wouldn't have a relationship with our children. You're not just giving a dog to somebody, you're giving a new lease on life. You are giving us our lives back. And not that we were great before, but now, working with the dogs, working with Vets Helping Heroes, we can get out in the community. We can be productive. It gives us a sense of purpose again.
When I came back from Afghanistan this last time, I had been in an explosion. I had to be medevac back home. Ended up messing up my spine, my elbows, knees, and shoulders, and was diagnosed with PTSD, traumatic brain injury, along with anxiety, depression, some other things. Once I moved back home there, it's like my life was lost. I didn't come out of the house for 2 years. The only thing I did was visit the VA for my appointments and go right back home. I even, was contemplating, many times a suicide. I couldn't even drive down I-4. I was looking for IEDs, different things. I couldn't go into restaurants or crowded places. Anxiety would just go through the roof. Once I got the dog, I started going out little by little, different places here, there, and eventually, within about 8 months, I was driving down I-4. Almost immediately, my wife was like, you're talking to people, you're not sitting in dark rooms, you're actually going out, little by little with the family to new places. He's allowed me to, become almost who I used to be. But without him, I wouldn't be here. Veterans Helping Heroes has been an amazing organization to positive action. You guys have given us the opportunity to actually raise more dogs for veterans, just help veterans in many ways. With you guys' help and backing us, we're producing more great service dogs for veterans.
That all the time.
Okay. So that was such a powerful, message that these two people had given us. They actually these dogs saved their lives.
Yes, they were both suicidal.
And so did they go through treatments and everything before they came to you, or did they go to the get medication?
They're usually already a patient at their local VA receiving treatment, because one of the requirements is that you receive a letter from your treating physician that states that you would benefit from the use of a service dog. So that's a requirement. So they're all usually getting their medications, but most of them go off their medications once they get the dog.
Yeah, a lot of them try to self-medicate also, which is not good.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. So again, with these people, it sounded like they were pretty. How did they find you?
Through Positive Action, which is one of our training facilities in St. Cloud, Florida. So they went through their local VA, who referred them to a training facility, who then got in touch with us, and we funded the dogs. We paid for them.
Wow, it's amazing. This is such an important topic. We deal with veterans every single day. I see it. I see the stats. You guys said that we did have some good news, that I guess the rate dropped a little bit from the 22 a day, but we don't want to go by that. We still want to save every single one of them.
Yes.
And it's really important, and we still have a crisis here. But, what is it specifically about these dogs that you feel that, do you see a dramatic change right away once these people get the dog?
It's incredible, right away. Yeah, it's like an immediate calm comes over them, and they don't feel alone. They feel safe.
Actually, that's what one of the person said in there, that about feeling alone.
Yeah, and it actually makes them, successful again in society. I had a little girl thanking me for her daddy back because he would just stay in a room and never come out. And when he got his dog, this was a blind veteran. We gave a guide dog to $60,000 for a guide dog.
Wow.
And when he got the dog, he now does speeches. He's up on stage, and she said, "Thank you for my daddy back. He takes me to Target now with the dog."
Amazing.
And she said, "We never did that before. I can go to the toy department." So it was really incredible to see that not only did we change his life, we changed that little girl's life. His wife was back into his life where it was all falling apart.
So we're coming to the end of this show, and I do want to continue it with you. If we could have you back for next week, that would be incredible.
We would love that.
I would love to have you give your number out again. And
Our
how
phone
people
number, sure. It's 561 area code 927 VETS, which is 8387. So it's 561 927 8387, right in Boca Raton, Florida.
And again, it's Vets Helping Heroes, and we have Lisa Vendrick, the executive director, and Mel Pollock. Okay, I got that right. Who is the president and retired colonel from the United States Air Force. So I can't tell you what this meant to me to have you guys here, and we want to really spread the message. I'd like to get next week a little bit more into the fundraising aspect of it too, and how we could help you raise money for all of this and the costs that go behind it.
Well,
So
It would be amazing.
we thank you, and we'd love to be able to help you out, and you help us out also.
Oh, absolutely.
So
we're all
available.
here together.
We're available.
We're all in it together. So again, I want you guys to remember that if you're in crisis or you know someone that's in crisis, please call the 1-800-273-TALK number. You call 211, and with the 211 or the 800-273-TALK number, they also have a special line for veterans, and I know 211 in Palm Beach just hired 2 more people to specifically deal with PTSD with veterans and help them out, so it's a great organization. So again, I want you all to remember our new slogan, and that is "You Matter, Your Life Matters." Have a great day and have an incredible week.
Thank you.
And that's a Real Convo, bringing hope and awareness to those affected by suicide and mental health. Tune in next Saturday at noon to the Real Convo.
Fact: most people suffering from addiction misuse substances to self-medicate unaddressed trauma, untreated mental health, chronic pain, and other problems. Fact: addiction is treatable, and people can live full and healthy lives in recovery. Effectively treating addiction requires comprehensive, evidence-based treatment, individualized approaches, and ongoing care. Futures Recovery Healthcare in DeQuesta provides residential and outpatient services to help families and individuals gain a strong foothold in recovery. Learn more facts about addiction and how to help at futuresrecoveryhealthcare.com or call 855-467-3300.
Hey, sorry I'm late. I just left psychotherapy.
Oh, wow. You are in psychotherapy? But you seem so put together.
Ha, thanks. But that takes work. So I go to Clarity Health Solutions in Jupiter. Just walking through the door feels like a retreat. When I'm feeling nervous, angry, sad, or overwhelmed, I can always see my psychotherapist for unbiased feedback, healthy support, and skill building.
Clarity Health Solutions in Jupiter has a great atmosphere, caring staff, and seasoned clinicians, and even a psychiatrist. They believe that therapy is an investment for the future, and they cherish being a part of your journey. So, grow with Clarity. You can call them at 561-781-3333 or book an appointment at clarityhealthfl.com.
Business Services for You is a full-service accounting and tax practice. We are tax problem solvers. Our mission is to provide value to our clients by helping them to achieve their financial goals. We give all clients the close personal attention they deserve and act in their best interest. To schedule a free consultation, call us at 561-376-2564 or email us at info@bizsvc4u.com. Stay tuned for our show, Accounting Commandos, powered by Business Services for You.